What's really good, everybody? This is Nathan Alabach, and welcome to the podcast where we get into people's stories and go down a bunch of rabbit holes about what's really good in the world. I'll tell you what's not really good in the world, congestion. So I'm super sorry for putting my nasally voice up in your ears today for this intro. Just a string of allergies right now, and yeah, you might not have even noticed it until I just pointed it out. In which case, I'm an idiot, but I'm just going to keep going with this intro because my nose is running and I got to get this thing done. So, sorry ahead of time. Anyway, over the next few episodes of the show, I'll be releasing a bunch of internet culture-related content, because I know it's why a lot of you tune in. I've been doing my best to incorporate it into my schedule with like a diverse range of guests the past month or so. Sometimes it's tough in the summertime, just getting dates and times to match up with people, but I've been listening to your suggestions and doing my best to make things happen. So, yeah, lots of great stuff in the pipeline. So don't go anywhere. Smash the subscribe button or whatever the hell you do to stay up to date with things, because there's some good stuff coming up. Enough about that. For today's conversation, I spoke with Satan from Twitter. You know, Satan. That's his @ handle, at least. It's the letter S and then the number 8 and then the letter N. Satan. So the person behind the account wanted to remain anonymous for reasons that we get into throughout the episode. Satan has over 1 million Twitter followers at this point, which is insane. It's one of the most engaged accounts of its kind on Twitter. So we got into just how it got started, what life is like being the person who is playing Satan every day, dealing with trolls, and we also touched on this whole issue of shadow banning, where Satan's account was essentially hidden from the search bar for months. So people couldn't find it or see the tweets as easy, which is so ridiculous for an account that size, and is really just an example of how Twitter's internal support system needs a massive overhaul, which isn't anything new. But yeah, so a lot of fun bits in here, just a day in the life as Satan, you know, just it is what it is. So as always, you can reach me on any social media platform if you just search my name, in case you've got show feedback, guest suggestions, you know, the whole deal there. And yeah, please follow Satan if you don't already. It's just the whole thing sounds like an ad for like Church of Satan or something. But yeah, the account is like super consistent and lighthearted. It's a great feed, and it's truly a symbol for the strange times that we live in today. All right, yeah, please enjoy our chat. And now let's get into what's really good. Satan, thanks for coming on the podcast.
It's not anytime.
I don't know how you expected me to start this thing. I mean, all week I've been talking to my wife and my coworker. I'm like, yep, I'm going to podcast with Satan this week. It's just it's a good time.
Yeah, it's not something you hear every day, I'm guessing.
So what's it like, man? What's it like embodying the essence of Satan in a viral social media account?
It's fun. It's fun, but it's strange.
What initially, I guess, made you want to start the account? And like, when did you start it?
When was it? 2015?
Okay.
14? My friend just gave me the app and said, "Oh, do you want to do something with this?" So I thought, why not? But I never thought it'd be anything like this.
Was there a were there like other Satan parody accounts back then, or was yours like the predominant one?
I think there was a few, but I don't think they really got that far.
Yeah, right. So like, what initially, like, what do you think made yours take off, I guess, then, like, above the other type parody accounts?
Don't know. I think it was I think Tumblr posted one of my tweets and it went big on there. Old Trump tweet it was.
So did you notice the account like explode in followers after that, or was there kind of like a cascade effect?
It just kind of gained a little bit more and more.
Yeah. Like when I know you recently tweeted something out that was basically like asking for feedback on your style of tweets because you have like a very niche type brand of like your humor and like your bits are very specific to the account. And I think that's in large part at least why you have such a good following. It's very consistent. But like how do you go about those boundaries and like figuring out what style to post in?
I just go with whatever for the day. Just think of whatever at the time. It's a pain to tweet for at times because you have to keep it, like you said, in theme of.
Do you only like do you try to hit certain topics with it, or do you like try to I know you kind of have like a specific vein in what you talk about, but like is there kind of like, do you have like a range of topics you try to cover, or do you like keeping it in that really specific like niche category?
It's just whatever's. If I can, whatever's popular at the time, if I can like do something related to that with that, then it always works well.
Do you try to interact or not interact with certain accounts? Like, do you have allies on Twitter or people that you're kind of like at odds with?
No, nothing. Not that I know of.
No.
I always get DMs which are weird.
Yeah. What kind of DMs are you getting?
People ask me, "Are you actually Satan?" And I'm like, "How can you ask something like that? Like in a serious way?"
Like they're actually being serious about it?
Yeah, asking me to do deals and take the soul, and some of it's probably jokes, but a lot of people I think are serious. They genuinely ask. That's quite strange. Yeah.
That's so bizarre. What do you think like the strangest one you've gotten, or like one of the strangest ones?
I think someone emailed me as well and DM'd me like a big, huge list of stuff they want for the soul, like a big thought out list and stuff. I was like, I don't know but it sounded serious. That was the worst part.
Were they like a Satanist or something?
I don't know, just someone wanting all this money and to grow 6 foot and all this stuff. It's like, what?
That's so insane. Are you like, I know there's a lot of other popular parody accounts that are kind of in your vein, like there's a couple big ones that are for God. I know, like, are you friends with any of those people, or like do you interact with any of them?
I've talked to the original God account a few times, but that's about it. I don't like the tweet of God. I don't think he interacts with anyone. Him just tweets.
Yes. Are there any like favorite accounts that you've gotten to interact with over the course of doing it? Like I'd imagine with how big it is, you've had to have some kind of like level of celebrity interactions.
Jacksepticeye always interacts. He's another YouTuber.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he interacts quite a lot. He's quite mad.
That's awesome. Does he do like videos on it?
Oh, he's done a few. He's mentioned me in a few videos where I've tweeted him.
That's so funny. Have you reached out to him personally?
Yeah, I've spoken to him a few times.
That's awesome.
He always enjoys it. He likes interacting because both our followers love it as well.
Yeah, it's like a fun bit for creators.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun.
Do you have any intention in like branching into that whole scene of like video or streaming in any way?
I've tried streaming, but I'm not very good. And because I can't do a face cam, it's not as good, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. You've kind of like found your perfect audience and your perfect platform, I guess, for the style of bits that you're doing.
Yeah.
Are you? I know you do. Like I've seen it at least in. I don't know if it's there still, but I know at one point you had your pinned tweet was like your merch. Like, are you able to make good money off doing anything with this account, or is it more just like a passion project?
It's a bit of money now and then. It's just like just if people buy it, I don't. It's not like living money,
right?
But it's a nice little extra now and then.
Nice. What? This is kind of a weird question, but like, what do you think keeps you coming back to the account every day? Like, is this more just a hobby for you? Is it kind of like an addiction? Like, what's the
What's the draw for you to like be like to wake up in the morning and like want to play Satan on Twitter every day?
It's just fun. It's just the reactions are always crazy, and it's just fun to do.
Do you have like any like how do you because your tweets are coming from a very specific place. I mean, this is kind of like you're weaving in and out of for lack of a better word. I mean, it's comedy, but it's like layered on top of like theology and like kind of belief in a weird way. Like it's you're poking fun at you know like religion in some fun like tongue in cheek ways. Like, do you have any personal beliefs toward this whole thing? Like, did you approach it from like any background specifically?
Not really, no. I just do it for the fun of it. But because I used to think people would actually hate it, like they'd be mad about it, about everything. But most people just enjoy it, which is fun.
So you haven't had like any religious fanatics come after you?
Oh yeah, I just don't read it. Just don't listen to it. No, crazy.
Dude, that's the smartest thing I've ever heard from someone on Twitter. Just don't read it. I mean,
exactly.
Seriously, sometimes it's so easy to get caught up in like the hate cycle of just like, you know, people they want to give you their 2 cents, and it's usually not in a nice way.
Yeah. People say you go into hell, and I'm like, that's kind of ironic. It's just funny.
You're like, isn't that the point of this? Like,
yeah. Exactly.
So, like, what are your personal beliefs? Like, would you consider yourself an agnostic or like an atheist or
nothing really? I don't know.
What do your friends and family think about this whole ordeal?
I don't think it's funny. It's just that it's Satan. It's just crazy.
Do you, like, when you go out, does it come up in conversation, or do you try not to talk about it?
I don't really talk about it, really. I'd rather keep it just onto it.
It's kind of like your best kept secret.
Yeah. People
awesome.
are weird about it still.
Yeah, I get that. Makes sense. You know, it's kind of and it's like embodying an identity. So as soon as, you know, people start to associate it with your name, then they're going to start scrolling through all the tweets and trying to figure out like, oh, what's this person about? Like, what are they tweeting about? And that can get super weird.
Before I get cancelled for something.
Yeah.
So I keep it to myself.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Are you still shadow banned or whatever was going on with the account?
No. I got it fixed recently.
Did you? What happened?
There was an article on Medium about it. Someone did, because I reached out to them and they did one on it, and Twitter responded. At first, it was saying, "Oh, it's because of something. You've been doing something wrong," which I didn't. Then they looked into it further and found I wasn't doing anything and fixed it finally.
Dude, that's awesome. So like for people who didn't know, like what initially happened with all that? Like, what's the backstory?
It was one day I was gaining 3,000 or 4,000 followers a day. Then there's one day I was gaining hundreds instead. Then I found out that my tweets, instead of being at the top, they were literally at the bottom under more replies, so nobody could see them. And people who didn't follow me, if you searched for Satan or SAN, my account didn't come up. So it was like hidden from everyone who didn't follow me. So I wasn't gaining anything. For months it was as well.
It's so weird, man. Like, 'cause I remember, like I would go to search for your name, it wouldn't come up in the search bar. Like, did they ever give any explanation, or was it just kind of an accident type thing?
They just said I got caught up in some automated bot they did to combat bad behaviour on Twitter or something. Which is a bit dumb.
So annoying. Do you have any like strong opinions on Twitter as a platform and how they handle that type of stuff?
They're awful for it. The support's awful. I tried reaching out to so many ways and just got nothing. And the only reason they did something is because of that article, I'm guessing, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, how many followers does your account have now?
943k.
I mean, it's insane that an account your size, you can't even get a hold of a real person to help fix this.
Exactly, yeah. And Twitter knew about it as well, because they tweeted me a couple of times. Well, not about it, but they replied to me and they took over some guy's account who had DM'd asking to see if anyone like could help,
Right.
and they tweeted about it. So it's like, you saw that my account's broke, but you didn't do anything. It's a bit stupid.
Yeah, I know. I've been trying to follow some of the interviews and the conversations that Jack Dorsey and his team have been having recently as kind of like PR puff pieces and all that, and him trying to explain the whole infrastructure of Twitter, and it sounds just so chaotic. I mean, I get...
Does it?
Yeah, like I think, and you know this, I mean, like from platforms like YouTube and Facebook and whatnot, I mean, these are... They're accessible all over the world. So I mean, when you're working for the company, obviously you have representatives that are from all different countries, and you're outsourcing a lot of like private contractors to help with like certain, like customer service based tasks and whatnot. So I think part of obviously part of the problem is just the scale of it in general, but I think more so than that, it's just like internally. I don't know I guess no one really knows what the internal policies are like in Twitter itself, but I think that they have to do so much outsourcing to like random people who technically don't even work at Twitter, but they're like operating as like Twitter employees, on some of these like service accounts, because when it comes to like the actual Twitter at handles like Twitter support or at Twitter or whatever those ones are, I feel like they're getting millions if not billions of tweets every day, and like they're trying to use those bots to like automate some of the process, like the one that you got caught up in. And I think the biggest problem is like they have no direct way, like no pipeline for someone like you or really anybody to find a customer service. Yeah, like it's so ridiculous that, especially like bigger accounts can't even get a hold of a real person.
After you gain like a certain amount and bring in whatever impressions a month, like tens of millions, nearly like 100 million, you'd think someone would want to help you, that they'd want to keep you happy on the site. It's a bit strange.
Yeah, because at this point, it's like you're helping them. I mean, you're a draw to the platform.
Yeah, exactly. And they just wasn't bothered. They just let it just get ruined for 4 months or so. It's just
4 months, man.
Yeah.
Did you?
I went from gaining like 100k the month before, 120k, to gaining like 10k, 15k a month. It's a massive drop. It was.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, it was.
Did you even though you were not gaining followers as fast, was it still a workable bit for you to kind of like use it as a rallying cry, like with Twitter as the enemy, and like kind of gaining your follower support and spreading the word? Like, did you find like that it was able to reach out to like new audiences at all, or was it really just kind of you being suppressed?
Probably just me being surprised.
So it wasn't a good bit.
Not the best, no. The reaction when I tweeted that it got fixed was good, because it would have been annoyed at me tweeting about it every day.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. What, like, on an average month, this is just interesting to me from, like, working in social media marketing, like, what are your, like, just roughly... And if you can say, like, what are like roughly your impression and engagement numbers each month?
From before it was broke on now. In May, when it was fixed for a week or two, I got impressions 65 million. But let me find one like this one in January, when everything was fine. That month I got 156 million impressions and 122,000 followers. Then it dropped to 90. Well, that's not that bad. This one. Like in April, the month after it got bad, I got 46 million impressions and 10,000 followers.
Wow, that's
in the whole month. From 100k.
That's so insane.
It was horrible. And I was close to 1 million as well. I should have hit it a few months ago. So I was extra annoyed at that.
Yeah, right. So prior to the account getting shadow banned, were you on like a pretty steady incline and like gaining impressions, gaining followers? Was it just steady over the years?
Yeah, it's when I started, because I used to only tweet once a day, once and every other day or so. But as soon as I started tweeting like 3, 4, 5 times a day, it's just went so much better. Just like thousands instead of hundreds a day, and millions of impressions instead of a few 100,000. It was crazy. Just from a few tweets extra a day.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah, people love Satan. What can you say?
It's just strange that an account like that has got so many followers.
Well, you kind of you almost fit into that umbrella of like the weird joke Twitter accounts. Like I'm sure you follow a lot of those guys, like the ones there's kind of like an amalgam of all of them. Like they're not all the same, they're not all friends. There's obviously like different competing sects within each group, but you have like the old school grouping of weird Twitter accounts like Drill and like Krang T. Nelson and all those guys, and then and then you have like the joke writer accounts, the ones like Viking and Michaela Oakland and all of them, and then along with the joke writer accounts, you have some more like anonymous style joke writer accounts as well. So you kind of like you fit in as a parody account like into that whole sphere, even though like you're not. It's interesting because like you're not really doing traditional Twitter joke writing, because like usually Twitter joke writing is like the format where it'll be like me and then like colon.
Yeah,
it'll be like
I've done a few of them.
Yeah, but that's not like your primary bit though, right? Like you like to do just kind of like stuff revolving around hell and Satan and just like really quirky. Like how did you find that voice? Like did you get inspired by anybody, or did you just kind of come up with that?
I don't know. I just started tweeting whatever came to mind about it. So whatever I could.
What's your history in social media then? Like when did you first get on the internet and start like using social?
I had a personal account in 2012, which had like 100k, but that was back when everyone was doing shout outs and follow for follow and all that stupid stuff.
Right. Yeah, like you have 100k followers, but you're following like 120 or
yeah,
something
exactly. Something stupid like that.
Were you like, has Twitter always been like your playground, or were you involved in other platforms like Tumblr or Reddit or any of them?
Oh, Twitter. It's always been Twitter, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best one, even though the support's awful.
Well, it's interesting too for like what you do, because something I've found over the past few years, I think around, I want to say it was 2014 is when Twitter, like they changed their layout and they made everything look really clean and like kind of modern looking. Because like if you go back through screenshots of old tweets from prior to that time, like it kind of had this old internet look to it. Like it wasn't all, you know what I mean? Like the format's a lot more clean now. And I think it was around then, like 2014, when the internet culture bubble, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's obviously broad. I'm not trying to, pin it down to anything specifically. Just like the broader culture between humor and sports and memes and video and all that. Like people started to move, I think, from sharing like screenshots of Tumblr threads and like Reddit posts and like Imager, and then they started to share screenshots of tweets. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like that before. Like I remember going on even just Facebook, like scrolling through Facebook, and you would see like a viral image that was going around, and it was like a screen grab from Tumblr, like a bunch of threads. And like and you don't really see those anymore, because now it's almost all tweets. Like it's almost tweets on, like from Facebook to Instagram, even like people putting them together in like YouTube compilations. Like it's all screenshots of tweets now.
Yeah, Twitter's definitely taken that spot.
Do you think that's had anything to do with your account kind of blowing up? Because like now, like
100%.
Because I see like screenshots of your account posts all over the place, like on Instagram accounts, and it's like everywhere.
Yeah, it's always on it's always on Reddit. Reddit always.
Yes,
I love my account on Reddit. Every time I do something wholesome, it ends up on the wholesome memes. I think because it's Satan and it's something wholesome. Exactly. So it makes it a bit funnier.
Yeah, that's so perfect. That's so true, man. That's what's so perfect about your voice. Is like it's not like people, I guess, stereotypically would think like, oh, like I'm following Satan on Twitter. Like you would think that the content would be darker or more like, malign. I don't know, but like you make it so light and fun, and it's clearly a good-hearted person behind it, because like you're always trying to boost certain causes and like shed light on certain topics that just like if Satan the figure was real in real life, it would never. I don't think at least be like as philanthropic and just like lighthearted as you, and that's what makes it so funny. Like it really does add like a whole other layer to the brand.
Yeah, exactly. Like I could probably tweet a lot darker, but I won't want to get suspended as well.
Yeah,
So
true.
Nice.
Going back to how crappy Twitter is, it's like you never know these days. You can tweet anything and just get suspended at this point.
Yeah, scary.
Oh man, are you still going with the whole verify Satan campaign? Are you trying to do that?
Sometimes people still make memes of it, which are funny.
Do you think there's any hope for it to happen?
I mean, I don't think it's impossible, but I think I got told because they can't link like myself to it, that they can't. It's a bit hard to do.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. You're right, because even like the best parody style accounts, or not parody, I should say, like even like the anonymous weird Twitter ones, like even the ones that have like hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, like a lot of those aren't even verified because they don't have their identity attached to it.
That's what I mean. Well, it might, maybe one day.
Do you ever see yourself breaking character and like let's create a scenario, all right? Like let's say, I don't know, BuzzFeed or The Verge or some like tech style like big company comes to you and is like, we want to run like a huge piece on Satan. We want to interview you. Would there be anything like that would ever make you want to go public with your identity?
I've done it a couple of times, but the first time I did it was on the Observer one. And do you know 8chan?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. They came at me for some old tweet and they found my full name and stuff. And everything was a mess for a while.
So wait, so you did the interview, but you were anonymous, and then 8chan found your identity?
No, I put my name on there. Stupid.
Oh, okay.
But it was like QAnon stuff. The site just... it's actually insane to think people like that exist. To think the crazy stuff they said. But they found it, so I kind of stay away from that.
Yeah, dude, that's so rough. Those conspiracy holes, the black holes of the internet, man, like that is... It gets dark so fast. Like, what was... I didn't know that happened to you. Like, what was that like, going through that?
It was crazy. Because it was like 2 days. It was only for like 2 days, but like 2 days straight, my mentions were completely full. People just threatening me, just saying, "Oh, you should die," and all this. I'm like, what?
Jeez.
It's like, it's not that deep.
It's not that deep, bro.
It was a tweet about, like the pizza theory stuff.
Yeah.
What they say about. It was literally a tweet in 2015 saying, "Oh, sacrifice pizza" or something. And they took that as some weird tweet. So they just, the whole leader or something posted my tweet and they all just came at me.
Jeez, so you got caught right in the middle of Pizzagate?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Oh no, that's so terrible. Can you just for people listening, because like I remember following this whole ordeal. Like, can you just briefly describe what that was, just for people who may not know?
They think, what is it? I think the word pizza means child trafficking or something. And it's like, what? Like, if they see someone, like a big account, tweet about pizza, they think it means child trafficking or something like that. Something very weird in Hollywood. And they're like, oh, this guy's... They were saying, oh, we think it's Elon Musk or Jack Dorsey on that Satan account. I was like, what? If I was a billionaire, I wouldn't be on a Satan account.
Oh my!
Just, it's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I'm British, and they're like, oh, some celebrity just give you the account while you tweeted subliminal messages to all these other celebrities about this stuff. I'm like, what? How can you believe that stuff?
Oh my God!
Like, it's just insane.
That whole period of just like how deep it got there, with like the people that went into that pizza place in DC, I think it was, and they were like, they wanted, I forget if I don't think they shot anybody, but they fired shots, I think. What a mess. Like, thinking there's like some child sex ring in the basement.
Oh, in the basement, that's it. Yeah, I remember.
Oh,
yeah.
God. It's so insane.
Yeah. Exactly. And I was like, how can I be in the Hollywood thing when I'm in the UK? So how am I involved in that?
Did this like did it spread through Reddit or any of these sites then that you follow?
Oh, they had a subreddit on Reddit talking about it, and it got, because they harassed and doxed and attacked me, they got the Reddit shut down, which is good. Which they're probably mad at me about, but it's fine.
But you don't hear from them anymore, do you?
No, they stopped after a couple of days.
They get bored, you know. They always need a new target.
If it was that bad that they came at me, why would they leave it after 2 days?
Exactly.
It's just psychopaths.
Man, I'm sorry you had to go through that. That's I had no idea that the account was going through that. And that, I mean, was that like was that like a huge concern, like with your friends and family? Like, did you talk to them about it?
It were just people I followed, because they were literally going through all my followers, all their tweets, all my likes, and just trying to look for like going after them as well. It's like, what's wrong with you? I'm just tweeting and following my friend.
Yeah, it's like, you got to think, like, what kind of life is that? I mean, I kind of...
Exactly.
Dude, yeah, it is. It's so weird. Like, the internet's so weird with that, too, because I get that not everybody can be for lack of a better word, a content creator. Like, I know not everybody can just, like, make an account on Twitter or YouTube or whatever and, like, be producing, you know, stuff for people to like and enjoy and follow and all that. Like, not everybody can do that. Like, some people are more content to just follow. Like, hence the whole premise of, like, Twitch as a platform. Like, people like to watch other people play video games or do whatever. Like, that's perfectly fine. But, like, I think, like, it also crosses into this weird territory where there's this huge blob of people online from all walks of life. Like, it could be an older person, it could be a tween, like a teenager, but like all these people, for whatever reason, like maybe they're mentally ill, maybe they're psychopathic, maybe they're just like miserable and like they have no friends, like who knows what it might be, but like they make it like their life's mission to go after random people on the internet for either ones that they like, and then like they later find out that they don't like them and they like turn on them essentially, or like they target people. And it's such like a strange way to spend time. Like, you think about like all the time you have in a day, and like life is short and life is hard, and you know, people are going through whatever. And there's so many people that they literally will go through the likes of a parody account on Twitter just to like try to find some secret code or like gotcha moment.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, isn't that so strange to think about? Like,
it's very weird. It's strange. And they linked me, there was a shooting in, I can't remember what it was. Was it Pittsburgh, that shooting?
The synagogue shooting?
I'm not too sure, but one of them took one of my tweets and somehow said I was linked to that shooting because of one tweet. I was like, what?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I was like, how are you going to link me to a shooting of all things? It's just insane.
Yeah, I mean, like, people, it's almost like they're desperate to have some kind of purpose in their life. Like it almost seems like it's a video game, and that they are like the secret agent where they have they have information that no one else in the world has, and it's their responsibility to like uncover the mystery and the conspiracy, and they're gonna be like the hero to save the planet. It's such like a strange complex.
It is strange because they think they're doing something good. Exactly.
Yeah, like they don't think they're bad. They think they're a hero.
But they were harassing me and attacking me and saying all this stuff, saying I should be beheaded and all this stuff. But they're thinking they're the good people. I said, what? What? How? They're insane.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Like I've gotten harassed on like the smallest level possible, and through the Steak-umm brand a bit, but like nothing like that. Like
people actually come at you for that.
Oh yeah, dude. Like
wow.
I've hit some beehives, and I think, and I'd be interested to know if you have any thoughts on this. But I mean, like I think in large part it has to do with the whole weird time that we live in where brands on Twitter specifically are like engaging in cultural conversations, because like if you think about like Facebook or Instagram or I don't know, like even YouTube or wherever, like other traditional platforms and mediums, like when brands engage on those platforms, it's usually pretty clear that it's just an ad. Like they're posting a picture of product, or even if it's like a meme, it's like it's clearly like, oh, here's that brand posting a meme. But on Twitter, like everything is kind of blurred because like you're talking, like you're speaking in conversation with people, and I think the more that brands do that, the more you kind of blur these lines between like what constitutes a person and like a creator like yourself, and then a brand that's like making money off advertising. And I think that like, because like me personally, like I'm sure I'm somewhat similar to you in the sense where, you know, I've always really been into internet culture. Like I didn't grow up from like a super young age, like deep in like web forums and all that, but I've always been involved and like always appreciated like, you know, like platforms like Reddit, like going through all the different subs and kind of getting involved in different communities and like YouTube channels and all that. Like it's all very interesting to me. So like by the time I got the Steak-umm account, obviously like I started to implement like a lot of my personality and like my points of reference through it, and like that's what kind of helped gain some of the traction and the following there. But then a lot of the people who are like in those like creator circles, like weird Twitter accounts, and so even some joke writers, and like just people who are kind of like they're in the space of Twitter and they're doing it either out of just passion or fun, or maybe it's like their little getaway from reality, and they would look at what I'm doing through the brand as exploitative in a way. You know what I mean? Like just kind of like using their culture and their humor and their references as a way to sell something. So like part of me gets it. Like I've addressed like I've addressed this a lot, like on my podcast and in some writing that I've done, because like there's definitely some blurry lines when it comes to what's like ethical and like how do you manage that space. Because like if you're a brand on Twitter, there's not really any way to avoid it. Like you're caught in a web between either being too corporate and corny and like out of touch by like if you like tweeted at me like, I have a problem with your product or you suck or whatever, my response would then be, oh, I'm very sorry that you feel that way, Satan. Like let me know what I can do to fix this problem, and then like signing it off or something like that. Like that's like the other option. Like that's the kind of like cut and dry, black and white customer service. But then people don't like that. Like they make fun of that and they think it's corny and annoying. But then like the extreme other end is like me being like super extremely online and making all sorts of pop culture references and things that are very human-esque. And then that's also very uncomfortable and cringy. So it's this like weird balancing act. And I think over the years, like I've definitely hit some hornet's nests with different accounts and different communities that just some of them maybe like Steak-umm specifically, but a lot of them are just like they hate brands in general, and like Steak-umm's an easy target because like we're so active. But like there's been some decent levels of I went out, I doxed myself pretty early on because I was like, I know that this is gonna happen. Like just like
Yeah.
granted, like the direction this whole thing's moving, like it wouldn't have been that hard to find me if I hadn't anyway. So I went out like in a couple of interviews like in late 2017, just put my name out there, then like just kind of accepted it. But man, it's not fun. It's not fun when you get those random like anonymous accounts coming after you, and you want to like sometimes like they'll say something to me and I'll agree with it, but they're being such an asshole. Like they're just basically like, fuck you, like you're a terrible person. And I want to be like, I get what you're saying, let's talk about it, but they're so mean and like just they don't want to have a conversation anyway, so it's impossible.
It's kind of sad as well. It's not that deep, really, is it?
It just kind of depends. It depends on how deep you want to go with it, right? Like you can you can look at it and just be like, it's all for fun. Like this is reality. Like reality is that there's advertising in the world, and we live in a world that, you know, people are buying and selling things, and we have technology, and it's constantly, you know, increasing in these different weird Black Mirror type ways. And then essentially, like, as that's happening, you know, we just have to kind of embrace life, and like it isn't that complicated. But then a lot of these people who leverage these attacks, they're a lot more I don't know what you want to call it, like for lack of a better word, nerdy. Like maybe they're like really into like political philosophy or like just like existential philosophy in general, and like they'll, you know, get deep about like the implications of all of this and like look at it from like through a political lens. And yeah, there's just different levels to it, you know. Like I don't know. I see it both ways. I get what you're saying, because I try to. It's my job, so I have to like help myself sleep at night by just like, you know, letting certain things go and just going with it, and being like, all right, this is what it is. Just gotta let it go.
Yeah, it's not worth it to dwell on that stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot. But I've noticed recently. I don't know when exactly you started the account, but like I know you've been posting a bit more on your Instagram page. Are you trying to make a move there, or are you just kind of trying to cross-pollinate your audiences a bit?
Just trying to have like something not to fall back on, just to gain a little bit there, because I don't want to have all my followers just on one platform, because if something happens to that, then everything's gone.
Did you start like worrying about like with this whole Twitter situation? Did that like change your mind or make you think more about this?
A little bit, because they just suspend accounts just for the fun of it nowadays, they seem.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be terrified. You got like 1 million followers and they all just go away tomorrow.
Especially with the theme of my account, like I can be a bit wholesome, but like some tweets are obviously a bit dark humoured because it's obviously Satan. But I'm just hoping they see it as like satire instead of like offensive stuff.
Yeah, so like what, like obviously like we're going to keep you anonymous, and like please don't feel pressured to answer any of this in a way that's going to like incriminate your status here. But like I'd be interested to know, you know, for me personally, like my personality is a pretty egotistical, like loud, talkative, like I'm very immersed in like my own like community in real life as well as online. Like I'm just always, you know, trying to hang out with people and meet new people, and I'm a lot. Like, you know, like some people, like to my detriment, I would say, like some people would say I'm too much, you know, like I'm very, I'm very loud and crazy and whatnot. So, I mean, for me personally, with the whole Steak-umm thing, since it kind of like in a similar effect, I mean, not nearly the size of yours, but like in a similar effect, the Steak-umm brand has kind of become like an online cult in a way, where there's like a lot of like followers that specifically follow the account closely, like they know all the references, like they're in group chats. Like there was even this one account, I don't even know who did it, but there's this account that started a cult of Steak-umm Instagram account. Like I don't even know who it is, but like someone started this thing, and it's got like encoded messages on it to like decrypt, and it's a whole thing. Like I don't even know.
Really?
Yeah,
that's quite cool.
It's pretty wild. But so like anyway, from all I'm trying to say is like from my personality, right? Like I kind of started this whole account and got it to where it is, so it's easy to let it go to my head, and I try to have to like balance, you know, my own identity with it, because it's easy for me to kind of get swept away in the personality a bit, you know what I mean? And like, and then that carries into my real life, and I have to kind of like clean up the mess and like make sure I'm managing my relationships and trying not to let it consume me or define me in all those ways. So like, I'm just interested to know, like, from a personal perspective for you, you know, like, this is a massive account with like a huge following and a huge cult following of people that literally like, if you read any of your tweets, like, you got people like, yeah, Satan, like, we stan, like, you got like literal Satan stans that are just like commenting on everything. So like, for you, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But like, for you personally, then, like, how do you manage that? Because I mean, obviously, I know you said like you don't really talk to friends a ton about it in general, but like, for your personality, like, does this feel overwhelming to you? Because like, I gather from talking to you that you're a bit more introverted than I am, and you're a bit more quiet. So like,
I'm very quiet person.
Yeah. So like, how does this like affect you personally?
I don't know. I think because it's always been like a big account, like over the years, it's always been like a big, like, had a good amount of followers. I don't know. I'm not too sure.
So like during, like, just think about like this, like during the day, like, let's say, you know, you wake up in the morning, you get breakfast, like, you go to work or you go to school, whatever it is you might do, and you might tweet a couple times throughout the day. But like, as you're just living and like interacting with other people and like doing your hobbies and whatnot, like, how often are you thinking about the account, and like how does that like affect your just day-to-day living?
Oh, I check the followers and just to see if it's doing all right, because I'm just worried it's going to get messed with again. So I have to check that it's gaining all right and see how the tweets are doing. But other than that, nothing much really.
That's so interesting. So yeah, you seem like you don't have like a big ego at all with it. Like, it's just like a fun, like, you just don't really care.
I mean, I obviously care about the account and all the people who follow and everything, but if it was me, like a personal account, then it'd probably be different. But because it's like a parody account and nothing to do with me, myself, I don't think I'd get any. I don't think it'll ever settle in how many followers and people interact with it, like how big it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, like, and not to like psychoanalyze you or anything, but I think it's cool. It's cool that you are that way. I mean, that's kind of the sign in a way of like a true creator, like a purist in a way, where like you're doing this because you like it, because it's fun.
Yeah, I just do it for the fun.
Yeah, like, it's not something that you're like waking up like thinking about it like a hustle or like work. You're like, oh, like, I gotta wake up and like come up with the perfect tweet, and like, oh man, like, it's all about the brand. Like, you're not thinking about it in this like super like almost business minded, egotistical minded way of like me. It sounds more like you're approaching it just like, hey, you know, this is like a cool thing I get to be part of, and it's fun, and like, you're getting something out of it. Like, do you get like, just insofar as, like you said, like the community and like caring about the people that are part of the account, like, do you feel like you get something out of it, just knowing like how much joy, I guess, you're bringing to that many people on like a daily and weekly basis?
Yeah, it's great. It's always nice to read, especially on Reddit. Whenever it gets posted on Reddit, always the replies are always like, oh, I love this account, I follow it and look at it every day and stuff. It's just, I don't know why it's different on there, but it's always nice to read.
I feel like the people, like, it's different on each platform, and I feel like on Twitter at least, like, people do have a lot of accounts that they stan, or that they follow that they follow really closely and whatnot. But I also think it's easier on Twitter to kind of get lost in the endless stream of tweets, you know, like. So, like, let's say, like, so I follow your account, I love your tweets, but it's also easy for me, like, if I scroll past, like, I see your tweet, I might like it, but, like, it's, like, right next to your tweet might be a super funny tweet from, like, Viking or you know what I mean, or from Drill or whoever. So like you're constantly getting that. Like it's like if you're on Twitter following the people you think are funny or whatever, you're going through a constant stream 24/7. It's all content. So like I think it's easier as someone on the platform to kind of just like things and scroll and just keep going. But like if something's posted to like Reddit, there's more like if you're a screenshot of your tweet is posted to a thread on Reddit and there's like 1,000 comments, all 1,000 of those people are there specifically. Like they stopped, they clicked on a link, they went in, and now they're discussing it with other people. Like I think it's more of a like even though there is still like a feed on Reddit that people obviously scroll through, I think it's less. It's less inundated in a way. Like there's more like intention behind it, which I'm sure has something to do with like the slight difference in like the community reacting. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Well, dude, I gotta head back to work in a few minutes, but it's been great talking to you.
It's been fun. Yeah.
I was gonna ask you. Now that we've had this conversation, I almost feel like this question's futile in a way because I kind of have more of a grip on your personality. But do you have any like future goals with the account, or like are you aspiring toward anything, or is this more just like like we've been talking about, like taking it day at a time, just doing your thing?
Just day by day, really. Just see what happens. I'm just obviously trying to hit that 1 million finally.
That'll be huge.
It will. That'll be a weird day.
Will you be? I'm trying to think. Like I think the tweet of God, it might be. I don't know how many followers. Like they have a couple million, don't they?
5, nearly 6 mil, I think.
Wow. So that might be. Are they the biggest parody account on Twitter?
Pretty sure, yeah.
I think they have to be. Because there's like a few I know that are in that like 1 million-ish range, but not that
I think it's like
many
the biggest non-verified account on Twitter, probably.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's crazy, man. You're gonna be like you're cemented in like the Twitter Hall of Fame at this point.
Oh, it's insane. It's just weird to think about.
It is crazy to think too, like if you have like a family in the future, or just like even like nieces and nephews and all that, like whoever it might be, like years from now, like they're gonna be able to find all of these tweets and just you'll be like, "Yep, that was me." So
might have to delete some before that because there's some questionable stuff I tweet.
You can't, dude. It's all been screen grabbed and posted to Reddit.
Yeah,
you're doomed. You're done.
I am. It's just the reactions to some of the stuff. It's just the funniest part.
Yeah.
You can't beat some shocked reactions.
Yeah, it's an amazing account, man. Seriously, like I think it's rare that you run into an account that has such a unique personality to it and a unique set of bits. Like, I mean, obviously, the one I keep going back to in this conversation just because it's fresh in my mind is Drill. Like, Drill kind of like produced or I shouldn't even say produced, but like almost curated a whole style of like satire and using like weird grammatical errors and punctuation, which I know had been popular for years prior to his account even existing, but he kind of like mastered it and put it all together.
Oh yeah, he's definitely mastered the art.
Yeah, legend, total legend. But it's just, but it's crazy. Like there's not too many accounts that have like such a unique take. Like I think his is super unique. Yours is super unique. There's like Nihilist Arby's and the Lone Blockbuster, or like the Last Blockbuster. That one's really great. There's like very specific accounts that have like, or there's one, I don't know if they're even still around. There was one years ago called Emo Kylo Ren. I know that was like a pretty popular one. But there's like all these, you know, like everybody and their mom has either done parody or seen parody accounts, but there's only a few that really rise to the top that like make it like a unique personality. And I think like yours,
because a lot of people make parodies. Like say if something big happens, like Drake's dancing or something, people will make a parody of that, but it always dies down because nothing you can do with that really for long.
Exactly. It'll get like 200,000 followers that day, and then no one will care a few months later.
Exactly. Like them, what was it? Them Kermit ones. Do you know the evil Kermit? And
yes, yeah.
Like stuff like that. It just dies down.
Yeah, man. No, it's great because it's actually insane that you've had this bit running for 4 years now, and it's just kept growing and gotten better and bigger, and yeah, it's really, really cool to see it. I'm stoked. I mean, it's like you were saying, I like, so much of like what I do podcasting and like the people I talk to through social media marketing and these like joke writers on Twitter. Like, I think there's a tendency to almost like we were saying earlier, just like overthink all of it, because like there is so much to talk about. Like, if you spend all day on Twitter, you can obviously like muster up endless explanations for things and different like weird nuances that you can discuss and kind of like extrapolate. But for you, like, I really enjoy like how simple that you put everything, that like this is like it's like I said before, it's a very purist take to just look at Twitter as a platform, to look at your account as a parody account and be like, I'm writing jokes, I'm doing it for the fun of it, people enjoy it, I enjoy it, like this is like what you're getting out of it. And I think that's like,
exactly.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? It's like you can make it more complicated, but like you're bringing a little bit of joy to people's lives every day, and I think that's a cool thing. So
yeah, that's the best thing about it, for sure.
Cool, man. Yeah, did you, before we head out, is there anything you wanted to add? Or, I mean, obviously I'll have, everyone knows who you are, but I'll have your ats and everything in the show notes. But was there anything else?
Nothing I can think of, no.
Cool, man. Well, hey, thanks so much again for the time, and I'll catch you back on Twitter.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome, man. Take care, all right?
You too.